Hey, and welcome to Game Talk. I'm your host, Ahmed Mion. Today I'm joined by Connor,
Hey guys.
Mike,
Hello.
and I apologize there for missing a week. Plenty of stuff happened while we were gone, so why don't we just jump into maybe the biggest topic here, certainly the one that's gotten the most social media interaction, and that's the leak of virtually the entire Last of Us Part 2 story. So let me just pause right here and say that in no way, shape, or form are we going to spoil The Last of Us Part 2 on this show. I myself am very averse to spoilers for that game. It's a release I'm very much looking forward to and taking as many reasonable measures as I can to avoid spoilers. But I know, Connor, you've looked at the spoilers because it's not that big of a deal to you.
Yeah, I don't care.
But yeah, so I think the bigger story around this is initially it was reported that a disgruntled employee leaked essentially all of the cutscenes to the game, and there was a claim going around that the Naughty Dog employees weren't getting paid and being forced to work remotely due to the coronavirus and all. And that news sort of percolated for a while, but then Jason Schreier, number one games journalist by my estimation, he did some digging, and it appears that the leaker was not an employee. Rather, it was a hacker who got a hold of some old, I think, game code for Naughty Dog, and was somehow able to get credentials from those.
Yeah, the way I read it was that just because everybody was working from home, stuff was way less secure.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do think it's very unfortunate that this happened. Obviously, this is probably Sony's flagship title for PlayStation 4, I would say.
I honestly think it's going to affect sales because people are not. I know you've avoided everything. Do you mind me talking about like people's opinions of it?
I'd actually even want to avoid that too.
Okay. I will. I think
But
it's going to affect sales though because people know the story now, and like that's what people play The Last of Us for.
but here's the thing though, like I know people know the story. The people who chose to look know the story, right? But like the thing is, the only people that would care about a leak like this, I think, are enthusiasts like us. And we know that enthusiasts like us don't make up the bulk of the sales of most games.
That's true.
So I think in the large scheme of things, yes, this might reduce the sales a little bit, but I think the amount will be negligible compared to the wide gaming populace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think this whole debacle sheds light on another thing in which, like, I think it's so easy, and obviously this is a larger problem outside of games, but fake news is so prevalent now. Like,
Yeah, this is
everyone,
the first thing that's ever really gotten me. But I
yeah,
I totally like I think just because it's so believable in the industry, but I 100%
yes,
believed that
no,
Naughty Dog
I
would
did
be bad
too.
to their employees.
Yeah, and obviously we know Naughty Dog has problems related to crunch, and obviously that's inexcusable. But that being said, like I totally believe this news out of Naughty Dog too, and it was very disappointing to me, especially as someone who looks up to that studio.
Yeah,
And
and that's like your dream studio to work for, isn't it?
yeah, in an ideal world, yes, but it's shocking to me that like that news percolated and everyone believed it. Even Jason Schreier, at first he didn't bat an eye. He was behind that 100%. Only after he did some digging, he found out that that was completely false. It's amazing. Like it could have been the case that like an employee from Naughty Dog could have spoken up because obviously, you know, well, I guess they wouldn't have known one of their coworkers might have leaked it or something, but like it's just shocking to me that this news story got so far before finally being corrected. And Sony did put out a statement that they identified the individuals responsible and appropriate action was being taken, which yeah, I shudder to think what might happen to them, honestly.
Yeah, it's hard to say because I mean, yeah, the hack it's not as cut and dry as like breaking an NDA, you know? I mean, obviously it was illegal, but I don't know what happens to you when you hack somebody's servers and leak cutscenes. Like,
I imagine like especially for something as valuable to Sony as The Last of Us and Naughty Dog, I imagine the response will be absolutely brutal. And of course we won't know about it, or that's not really the focus here, but like I do imagine that it will be pretty as severe as the laws will permit it to be.
yeah,
We joke about Nintendo assassins. If ever Sony had assassins, this would be what they were
Yeah.
trained to take care of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the game's actually just gone gold. That was announced a few days ago, so I'm very happy with that. I was holding off on like pre-ordering or like scheduling time off of work because I do plan on doing that, by the way. But I was holding off on that because I was always in the back of my mind thinking, yeah, this game might get delayed again, as Naughty Dog games infamously always get delayed, and especially with the whole work from home situation due to the coronavirus slowing things down. But I'm pleased to see that it's gone gold, which means essentially it's finished, and it will be in our hands next month, and that is very exciting to me. And hopefully I won't get spoiled between now and then.
I think you can make it a month. I didn't think it. I for some reason had it in my head that it didn't come out until November, and I was like, Hammon's not going to make it.
No, it's a summer game. So that's another interesting thing too. So Sony, a couple weeks ago now, I think they put out the release date for The Last of Us Part 2, as well as the release date for Ghost of Tsushima, which I think is just coming out a month after Last of Us. So that's basically all of their notable, I think, first-party games releasing on PS4. And now I think all that's left for the fall now is PS5 releases, if there are any first-party games.
Yeah, we don't know a ton about the launch lineup of the PS5 yet.
No, we don't. Well, I think that's a pretty good segue. We do have confirmation now that the new Assassin's Creed Valhalla is going to be a launch next-gen console game.
Oh, see, I didn't watch that trailer yet, so that's actually news to me.
I haven't watched the trailer, but because it wasn't a gameplay trailer, so I instantly lost all interest.
Yeah, I don't really care about
CGI. I hate CGI video game trailers.
Yeah, they're kind of a waste of
nothing
time.
for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I do think it's exciting. It's a nice parallel to the launch of this generation, in which we had a cross-gen Assassin's Creed title. We had Black Flag out on PS4, Xbox One, as well as PS3, 360. We're going to see a similar. Yeah, Black Flag's excellent. I think it's still probably my favorite Assassin's Creed game.
It's definitely mine.
But yeah, I'm excited to see something similar happen with Valhalla. And while I don't think it's going to be, obviously it's a cross-gen game, so it's just going to be like a souped-up, like maybe 4K 60 version of that game. But I am excited to get my hands on it, despite it probably not like making full use of the potential of the new consoles.
Yeah, if I pick it up, I'll probably get it on PC because, I doubt there'll be like ray tracing in it and stuff.
Yeah, well, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? So like we've seen with this generation the rise of like PC-like configuration on console games. Like for instance, you could optimize frame rate or resolution. I wonder if there will be a third option going into next gen for consoles, at least, to optimize for ray tracing, to like turn ray tracing on, but that locks your game at 30 frames and like 1080p or something like that.
I really doubt it. I just don't think the mainstream gamer wants that. Enthusiasts do, and then enthusiasts build a PC. Like I don't think the mainstream gamer wants to have to pick.
But can you make that argument for the frame rate versus resolution? Because that absolutely became a standard in games this generation.
Yeah, I mean, when it's just two options like that, it's not confusing.
But I would also argue that to at least someone mainstream who isn't an enthusiast, who doesn't read up on this, who just plays casually, I think ray tracing is a lot more noticeable than a resolution bump. I agree. Even a frame rate increase, I would argue.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but it depends.
I mean, you'd be surprised. I've talked to so many people who say they can't tell the difference between 30 and 60 FPS, and obviously to people like us, that sounds ridiculous. But
that sounds. I could tell the difference between 60 and 144. Like.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
think
can, but it's a lot smaller than the difference between
Yeah.
30 and
Yeah.
30 and 60 is like night and day.
absolutely.
yeah, people don't care a lot of the time, but
Yep.
I really doubt it'll be standard. Some games might do it, but I think most developers want to deliver a tailored console experience, and having or not having ray tracing is a far more significant difference than being in 4K or being, high frame rate. Like, the difference there is kind of surface level, but the difference ray tracing can make is much deeper, I think.
Yeah, that's a good argument
Like
too.
it kind of can change the whole aesthetic of your level
True, yeah.
that you're designing. Like, if you expect flawless reflection somewhere and then the player doesn't get that, then they're not getting your vision,
Yeah.
Whereas the different, somebody seeing it in 1080p versus somebody seeing it in 4K, maybe it's a compromised version of your vision, but it's still very close.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's a solid argument that I really wasn't thinking of too much. So now in my mind it could go either way. I'm not really sure which way it'll go. But
Yeah,
it'll be
I
interesting
mean, I
to
think
see.
some games will do it. Like, it makes sense for some games to have that option. Like, I think it'd be stupid for most shooters to not have a high frame rate option,
Oh yeah,
But
absolutely. In fighting
uh,
games.
yeah, but most, like, single player shooters, even like stuff where it matters less, I doubt you'll have the option.
Yeah. But just going back to Assassin's Creed for a sec, does the setting for this one do anything for you guys?
No more than
Vikings?
Egypt and Greece did. I am interested in all of those. I don't know. Assassin's Creed's kind of lost me recently. They spent a bunch of time making terrible games that were in settings I was super interested in. Like, I really wanted to play the one that
Unity?
took place in I think Syndicate was the one I wanted to play. The one
Syndicate
in
was London.
yeah, that was the one I really was interested in Syndicate, but I never played it because I heard it was terrible.
Yes. I don't know. I've heard mixed opinions, but Syndicate was personally to me my least favorite Assassin's Creed game. Like, I just did not care at all by the end of that game.
That was just a
Um,
setting I was interested in. Like, that's a time in history I'm super interested in.
yeah.
The
I
Viking
do.
history doesn't, like, it's a cool setting. The history doesn't interest me a ton, but, like, obviously it sets up a ton of cool potential set pieces and stuff that I'm sure will be amazing.
So I think Vikings are interesting for a couple of reasons. One, I think just when you hear a Viking, you think dude on a boat, right? So I imagine this game will have fleshed out naval combat to the tune of Black Flag a little bit, right?
I mean,
Obviously,
didn't
the
Odyssey
naval.
have that? Didn't
It did, yeah, it did.
and Origins did too, I think. Like, that's been a staple of the series
Uh,
pretty much since Black Flag.
Origins had a very dumbed down version, but Odyssey pretty much had the same
Oh, okay.
mechanics as Black Flag. It'd be interesting to see if Valhalla iterates on it at all, because Ashaif Ismail is the director of this game, and he was the director for Black Flag. So that's another
Yeah.
exciting bit of news to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
And I
excited
just-
for that location, honestly.
I
Yes.
kind of wanted, like I was talking to you guys about the other two Assassin's Creed games, the new ones, and, like, I really feel like there's a giant divide between, like, pre-Origin and post-Origins.
Absolutely. It becomes an entirely different game by my estimation.
And I've never played a new Assassin's Creed. I haven't played either of those, and I didn't end up picking it up. I don't know if it's still on sale because it's just such a huge time commitment for me. And,
Yeah.
like, I see the RPG mechanics turn me off a little bit. Like, I don't know if I'm ready to dive into a game for hundreds of hours like that.
Yeah, they're not what they used to be for sure. Definitely more along the lines of sprawling RPG, like think The Witcher.
Yeah,
Um,
that's kind of the vibe I get, and I haven't picked up The Witcher yet either, even though I really like the Netflix series because I'm just intimidated by the size of the game,
yeah.
kind of. Like,
It's
games have to
big.
hit, like, a weird sweet spot for me. Like, I didn't pick up Resident Evil 3 because I thought, that game looks awfully short, but I won't pick up Assassin's Creed because it looks too long.
I don't know. There's something to be said about, I think, like, if a game is good enough, it doesn't matter to me whether it's short or long or whatever. But if
Yeah,
it's just like pretty good, then it's more of a factor, I think.
Yeah, I watched somebody do a Let's Play of Resident Evil, and I kind of wish I had bought it because it looks really good.
Yeah, I still have to play 3. 2 is excellent.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, and I haven't seen any of 2, so I may just pick that up.
Yeah. Um, But the point I was getting at, the second thing I really think is going to be cool about Vikings for Valhalla is the mythical aspect of it, right? So like starting with Origins, like I don't know if you know this, Connor, but Assassin's Creed leaned heavily into like mythology actually being a part of the game. So like it's not strictly 100% realistic anymore. Like you're actually fighting like that mythos's gods and stuff in the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, there was
so,
always a little bit of magic and stuff to it, like with the Apple of Eden and stuff. But
right. I mean, they definitely take that to the extremes in what I'll call the new Assassin's Creed. So like, it won't surprise me at all if in Assassin's Creed Valhalla we're fighting like Thor and Odin and stuff like that. And
that's actually selling me on Origins more than anything. If I get to fight Anubis, that's really attractive.
Yeah,
or work for
Anubis has Egyptian gods, Odyssey has Greek gods, and this is going to have Norse gods, and I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting.
But yeah, speaking of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, that is one of the few launch titles we know. I suspect Cyberpunk is also going to be a launch title for next-gen consoles.
Yeah.
It's coming out beforehand, I think, but like, I think it's almost a no-brainer at this point. That game has to come out on next-gen consoles as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And we know Halo Infinite. I think Microsoft just put out a release recently. They said Halo Infinite's still on target for like this year, so that's exciting as well.
Yeah.
And just speaking of Microsoft, you know, their event is tomorrow, actually. Their event showing off, I think, third parties for the Series X. I'm very much looking forward to that. Because right now we only have like a few of the puzzle pieces in terms of what games we can expect this fall. But like, I think obviously third party is a huge, like 70% of that puzzle. And a lot of that's going to get filled in tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited to see, because I feel like third party, Microsoft just doesn't have a ton of first party that interests me. But seeing what third parties are doing, and I think maybe we'll even see soon, like some of the Xbox Series X versus PlayStation 5, like, do developers actually think they can squeeze more out of the PS5 than the Series X? Because
of next gen, apparently, reportedly, the Mass Effect trilogy is getting an HD relaunch.
I saw that too. Yeah.
Oh boy.
I'm so excited.
You know, it's funny that EA is doing this now. Like, I wonder if like they're planning it for a next gen release. I don't know. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me that they're doing it now. Like, I feel like the thirst for that existed years ago.
Is it just a remaster? Like,
I think there aren't really any concrete details. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike.
I mean, there aren't, but I'd bet it was an HD remaster.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna remake it by any stretch of the imagination.
It's what the Mass Effect series needs, because the trilogy is the best part of the entire franchise.
It's the only good part, isn't it?
Really.
The only thing outside of the trilogy is Andromeda, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and like the whole hotbed of novels, but
oh well, yeah, they're not gonna remaster the novels, I don't think, Mike.
I mean, Halo remastered their novel.
Did they really?
Yeah, they remastered Fall of Reach, I think.
Wild.
They actually remastered a novel. But yeah, I don't know if like EA is gonna put those out as like a launch title for PS5, Xbox Series X. That'd be like a really weird like timeline, I think, if one of the games I had to look forward to on my PS5 or Xbox was like Mass Effect 2, you know.
Would you really buy it? Like,
if it gets remastered, I'm buying it 100%. I love those games. No.
But don't you still have them? Like,
I gave away my 360 and I had them on my 360, so.
No. Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, if you have them and you can still, like, you know,
well,
Super
actually,
Mario
I still
64...
have them on I still have an Xbox One, and that has back compat, so maybe. But I might have given away the games too. But anyway.
But you know, like Super Mario 64 getting re-released on the Switch, like that's even Sunshine getting re-released, Galaxy getting re-released, like that's a huge generational gap to me.
Yeah.
But a 360 re-release on an Xbox One, that's nothing to me.
Well, I don't know. So like, to be fair there, like Galaxy was on the Wii, and being on the Switch, it's akin to a 360 game being released on the Series X, you know?
Yeah, except the difference between the Switch, like that's the difference between standard definition and high definition, which in my opinion is a big difference between like 1080p and 4K.
And 4K, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
got you there.
And also, isn't the Series X gonna like be able to play Xbox 360 games? Isn't that?
Yes, it should be able to, yeah.
So it's not even gonna be like getting access to it on your new console. You will have already had that. It's just a weird choice. I'm not one who typically buys remasters though, so I'm not the guy to be talking about this.
I do for games I really like.
Yeah, like I
bought
said,
the
I'm gonna buy the Mario one.
I bought the Uncharted trilogy remastered, and I really appreciate it. They like actually made gameplay changes to one to make it more in line with the other two, and they
Don't
really
you look
bumped.
like a goofball now that they gave it away for free.
Yeah, but you can say that about most things. You know,
Yeah.
eventually everything becomes free.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. Speaking of Uncharted, do we think we're gonna see Uncharted 5 anytime soon?
Probably not.
I mean, maybe. I didn't know the whole leak and everything regarding The Last of Us had me like digging through, like not digging through, but like reading people's opinions on what makes up Naughty Dog. And I guess
They have two
Amy
teams.
Hennig.
Yeah.
Amy Hennig is gone. She's not there anymore.
So she left after Uncharted 3. So like what happened, I know a little bit about this. So there was some sort of internal conflict, early development for Uncharted 4, and ultimately that resulted in Amy Hennig leaving the company and them completely scrapping what they had on Uncharted 4. And at that point they'd already put out a trailer for Uncharted 4. It was like just like a teaser, right?
Oh, well,
But,
if
like-
Uncharted 4 was okay without her, then I'm less worried. Because Uncharted
Yes.
4 was fine.
Yes, but they scrapped all of their work. So that first trailer for Uncharted 4 is actually based on the original vision of the game, and so that's completely like debunked, non-canon, whatever you want to call it.
That's cool.
And then I think they obviously reused elements because I think Nate's brother was always a thing, but I get the sense that he was originally supposed to be an antagonist in the old version, and they kind of repurposed him to not really be that. Spoilers, I guess, for Uncharted 4. But yes, by and large, early Uncharted 4 development is when Amy Hennig left the company, and she actually went to, I think, EA. I think she went to work. I think she went to actually be one of the lead writers on the new Star Wars game. Star Wars.
That's awesome.
Star Wars 1313, remember? And that one got canceled. So I feel really bad for Amy Hennig. Actually, she's a supremely talented individual. She gave us Uncharted's 1 through 3, right? Like a lot of what those games would not be those games without Amy Hennig.
Yeah, I mean, Uncharted 1 would not have been anything without its amazing writing, because the gameplay in that is just okay.
Yeah, now Amy Hennig's now writing films for Skydance Media.
Okay,
She was
that's kinda
she
cool.
was in EA for like 3 years.
It's kind of sad to see that
And
lead
it
the
sucks
industry,
that,
but-
you know, I don't know if you guys remember the demo for Star Wars 1313, but that game looked really good. And I think a lot of what, didn't make it out, a lot of the assets for that game ended up going to Jedi Fallen Order. I get the sense that happened. Don't quote me on that, but
1313 was the Boba Fett game. Project Ragtag was what Hennig was working on with Visceral.
Okay. Yeah.
I just had to clear the air real quick.
But yeah, like when I saw footage of 1313 for the first time, I was like, this is basically Star Wars Uncharted, and I'm totally all about it. But it never saw the light of day. So
Well, here we are.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't see Uncharted 5 being a launch title though. Back to our original point. We'd have heard. Well, no, we wouldn't have heard. They would not announce Uncharted 5 before The Last of Us Part 2 came out. But
that I think I've mentioned this on the show before. I don't think Naughty Dog's going to be working on Uncharted 5. I think it's going to be another first-party studio.
yeah,
But I do think, I agree. It's not coming out at launch. Probably, I could see 2021, 22, maybe.
yeah, it's hard to say now because I feel like a lot of game development's been kind of thrown out of whack. So like even stuff that was in development, we don't know with all the uncertainty in the world.
Yeah. But I think enough about first parties. What can we think about third parties that we might potentially see tomorrow on Series X. Like I know we're gonna see Assassin's Creed. We're probably going to see Call of Duty. I'm imagining
I bet Call of Duty Modern Warfare gets a release, the new one.
Modern Warfare. Oh no, I imagine they have a new game for the fall, right? You'd think so.
Maybe, but Modern Warfare, I think what's it called? Warzone. I think
Oh,
Warzone is
Warzone.
like printing money for them right now.
Right. So Warzone is actually completely separate from Modern Warfare proper, right? So like
Yeah.
they've
No.
said yes. They've said
No.
that
You have to have Modern Warfare installed to play Warzone, but Modern Warfare as a game mode is free, sort of like how Fortnite Battle
sure
Royale
about
is
that?
free. Yes, because I've been playing it.
well they put out a statement recently that said that Warzone is going to be something they intend to focus on and develop for years to come, and it'll be an offering alongside the standard Call of Duty. So
Well, to get it right now, you have to have Modern Warfare. Like, I look at a menu full of options I can't select because I have Modern Warfare installed without owning it. Like,
okay, interesting. So I wonder how
Yeah.
that's going to work then.
and also a lot of people have like 200 gigs installed just to
I
play
feel like
Warzone.
I
even
feel like
though-
they'll throw it a standalone.
Yeah, it must be.
But
Oh,
I'm
okay.
glad.
So just a quick Google search. Warzone can be installed both as an update to Call of Duty Modern Warfare or as a free standalone game for players who don't own Modern Warfare.
Really?
So I
Okay,
think
well, I'm still looking. Like, I may not have the rest of the game installed, but I still see a main menu that is definitely Modern Warfare.
okay.
Like,
Well, in any case, like their intent going forward is to have, their typical yearly Call of Duty release, and then like, they want to turn Warzone into like a platform kind of like Fortnite.
mhm. It won't happen, by the way.
Also, tangent. Have any of you been following Fortnite lately at all?
Yeah,
They're having
didn't
like
they
a
announce
digital
recently
concert,
like
aren't they?
355 million people have played it? Like 5% of the world's population has played Fortnite.
Yeah, that's insane. But what I was getting at was more what Mike said about that concert. So
Yeah,
apparently,
I've heard of that, but I don't know anything about it.
so apparently they had like I forget what artist it was, but they had someone perform virtually in Fortnite.
Travis
and
Scott.
Travis Scott.
Travis
They did
Scott.
Marshmello first, and then
And then
Travis
they had,
Scott.
I think they had 17 million plus people in attendance. Does that sound right? I think that's the number.
That's a lot.
But that's just obscene to me, and that really kind of piques my interest because I think Fortnite is evolving into something more now than just a battle royale.
Oh yeah, especially with the addition of party mode or whatever.
Exactly right. Like it's becoming like a. Do you guys remember like PlayStation Home back in the early days of the PS3?
I do. I
Yeah.
thought it was super cool, but it didn't end up being anything.
Maybe it was ahead of its time, because I feel like Fortnite's sort of turning into like what that should have been. Like I think Fortnite's going to be a place like a hangout spot, a virtual hangout spot. Obviously the battle royale thing will continue and keep getting updated, but I think they're now pushing this new social aspect of it. And I could see maybe in like, 5-7 years in the future, like when VR is more consumer friendly and like more, high end VR is more consumer friendly. I could even see it being like a VR space too.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. I like Fortnite for its like art style and it's like I don't know. I just don't like building. Like I like everything Fortnite is doing. I love the goofiness. I love all of that. I just don't really like building when I'm shooting stuff. It's the only reason I
Yeah.
don't play it.
So I guess, do you know what exactly party mode is? Like, is there any competitive aspect to it, or is it just a hangout space like I think
It's
it
just
is?
a hangout space, as far as I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never played it or anything.
it's
I
so
just
interesting.
heard that it exists.
I think Epic is so impressive because I think they keep finding ways to make Fortnite interesting and relevant and have it evolve in cool ways that were really kind of unexpected.
Yeah, I think the real killer to me is that they haven't done anything incredibly stupid yet.
Yeah, it really just
And
seems like
no
they make
game
all the
company-
right moves.
Yeah, no company has ever in games made it this long without doing something
Yeah.
really stupid.
It is kind of baffling to me. I think whoever the management is at Epic is really kind of a valuable guy or girl.
Sweeney himself.
Yeah, Sweeney.
He's a god.
Yeah, apparently.
He knows what the people want.
Hey, we know Fortnite's going to be on launch for PS5, Xbox Series X.
Oh yeah,
There
of
you go.
course. PUBG probably will be too.
Is PUBG still relevant? I hate to, put that out there, but like, is it?
Not nearly as much as Fortnite,
Yeah.
even though I like it more. But
Yeah, and it like, I don't know, like, I see something like Warzone come out, and I hear people really like it, but I think like, what can it do to compete with Fortnite? Like,
yeah, and that's the thing. It can't because it's not as good. I've played it, and it's just not as good as Fortnite. It's really not. It doesn't have. It's not. It's not charming. It's not. I don't know. I
but
thought
that's
it was
the thing. I
exactly
think
what
that's
I
the
wanted.
kind of market it was going for. Like, maybe someone wanted like a gritty, realistic battle royale.
Yeah, but in that case,
Kinda like
it's just
PUBG.
not as good. It's just not as good as PUBG, which is the opposite of what I expected. I expected it to be a way better version of PUBG,
Yeah.
but it's just kind of less interesting to me. I don't know why.
I think the closest anyone got to Fortnite is Apex Legends,
Yeah, and then
and
they
I
got
think
very close. I feel like, but
but I don't know how relevant they are now. Like, is Apex Legends still a thing? I'm sure it's still getting updated, but like, how popular is it?
yeah, I never hear about anybody playing it or anything, or see anybody on my friends list playing it.
Yeah,
I loved it for the time it was relevant.
yeah, it was really fun to play.
I don't know anybody that plays Fortnite either, though. So
Yeah,
That's the thing.
I know
I think
people that play
Fortnite
Apex
has.
over Fortnite.
I think Fortnite has firmly skewed its demographic like much younger than us.
see, I'm not.
I think it's targeting
yeah,
like the Minecraft generation. Like
I feel
the
like
age we
the
were
Minecraft
when we.
generation.
That's what I'm saying. The age we were when we discovered Minecraft. Like, this is their this is their Minecraft essentially. Fortnite, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit true. Although, like, I also know Fortnite got a lot of like. Actually, I don't even know if that's true. Fortnite was the first time I knew that a lot of people, like people I know and stuff that I wouldn't have thought of as gamers, posting pictures of victory royales and stuff.
Yeah, it broke the mainstream.
But I don't know if they got a
very-
PlayStation to play Fortnite or if Fortnite was just what got them talking about it. Like, and I feel like the latter is more likely.
Well, I don't see why they'd buy, like, if they really didn't have any kind of gaming console. Like, Fortnite's on everything. You could play Fortnite on your phone, your tablet,
Well, this
your
was way
laptop.
before it came out on mobile.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Like, even before it came out on everything, it was still so popular.
Yeah, I mean, it's been. I think even on this show, I said that I didn't think it was going to last, and that was 3 years ago,
Something like that.
Yeah, it's firmly entrenched itself as like a platform now.
I mean, I
don't
feel
think
like it's
ever
lasted
going
longer than
anywhere.
Minecraft. Like, it's been bigger than Minecraft for longer at this point.
That's I don't know if I can get behind that.
I mean,
Minecraft-
got
Minecraft's been
irrelevant
huge
for
for.
like. It was
I mean, I
irrelevant
would
for like
argue.
6 years. Like,
I would argue Minecraft's still relevant.
no, it stopped being relevant for like 6 years, and then it popped back up recently.
Yeah, because it's 10th anniversary.
I guess that is true, even anecdotally. Like I know a lot of friends now that play Minecraft, but like for the past several years, they weren't really touching it too much. So
Yeah, same. And I've been itching to get back into it recently. I'm just waiting for somebody like
actually,
set up a server or something.
This being like the perfect time to make one of those, right? Like one of my friends made a server on PlayStation called Quarantine Craft, and like there's like half a dozen of us or so.
Well, PlayStation finally has cross-platform now, right? With everybody else.
Minecraft's cross-platform and everything. Yeah. So, but yeah, like
although in the same vein as Minecraft, Terraria, a game that came out, around similar time, it's getting its final update in a little over a week.
But don't
10
they
days.
don't they say final update like a lot?
They have said final update several times, yes. But this is at least, I am confident. The last time they said final update, I think, was 1.3. They said final update after 1.2, and I think it was because he like had a kid or something.
Okay.
And then, I guess he had more time than he thought he would, and he had more ideas. They released 1.3. 1.3, they didn't like really say it was the final update that I know of, but it was so big that the community was like, there's no way. Yeah. Now 1.4, Journey's End is what they're calling it, and Terraria 2 is already confirmed to be in production. So
that's exciting.
Yeah, Terraria 2 was confirmed around the time 1.3 came out, which I think is why people thought 1.3 would be the last hurrah.
Yeah.
1.3 also like significantly added a final boss to the game, which it
Not
didn't
so
really
final
have
anymore, I
before.
guess.
Actually, it likely is still the final boss.
Okay.
I believe most of Journey's End stuff is kind of along the way. Because Terraria is a huge game, so they don't always add stuff to the end. Sometimes they inject stuff in the middle.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to trying that out because my experience with Terraria, I think, is just the base game and like barely even scratching the surface of that. So
Yeah, Terraria is a. I'm very excited. I don't know if. Oh yeah, I did mention this to you guys. They're adding mod support, which is just huge. Like Terraria's, I've always known that it had mods and stuff, but like the barrier to entry was just slightly high enough that I never really bothered with it.
yeah,
But they're adding. It's not real mod support. It's like they're packaging T mod loader with the game, which is a fan made thing. I don't really understand it. Like I don't. To be honest, I couldn't tell you the difference between this and official mod support because this looks an awful lot like official mod support to me.
hmm Well,
But yeah, there are all kinds of
official
massive
mod
Terraria
support.
mods.
With official mod support, this game's effectively just going to last forever now, which is cool.
Yeah, or at least until Terraria 2 comes out and does everything but better, which I
Yeah,
think is quite likely.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine Terraria 2 not because every single update for Terraria has been just crazy good. Like 1.1 came out and literally that was when hard mode got added, right, Mike? Do you know?
No, maybe.
I think 1.1 literally doubled the game. Like everything that was in the base game feels like a tutorial to me now.
that's
Like
Oh
that's
yeah,
crazy.
1.1 was hard mode.
the entire base of the game feels like you're working up to fight the Wall of Flesh, which is like a finale boss sort of thing they added for the beginning of the game. And then the entire game world goes through a dramatic change. Everything gets way harder. And in my opinion, that's when the game really starts. And that was 1.1. 1.2 was just as significant. 1.3 was just as significant.
God, I'm so excited to play Terraria.
And I couldn't tell
That's
you what
awesome.
1.4 does because I haven't spoiled much for myself, other than like some quality of life stuff.
Yeah,
And that's another thing they've kept like where they ported Terraria to console, and so they were like, oh, these controls aren't bad. Let's bring that back to the PC version. And like, different quality of life stuff that came up in the porting process, they always brought it back to PC. And the consoles are a little bit behind, but they've been receiving all the updates as well. It's just incredible that the game's made it this far. Because I remember I didn't want to buy it. The reason Minecraft made me think of it was because one of my friends originally pitched it to me as Minecraft in 2D, and I told him that sounded stupid and I wasn't going to buy it. But then I saw that it was only $2.50, and I was like, well, even I as a lowly 8th grader can scrounge up like 10 quarters to buy a game.
Steam, take my money. Here's my quarters.
It might be the first game I bought on Steam. I'm not sure. It's definitely one of the first like 10.
yeah. Incidentally, I think I'm glad that I think so far at least Microsoft's had the foresight to not make a Minecraft 2 and just like improve on Minecraft because I don't think Minecraft 2 is a good idea, unlike Terraria, because like Terraria has a little more I guess
Terraria
structure to it than
So
Minecraft
Redigit
does.
didn't want to make a Terraria 2, essentially, but he started hitting a wall with the engine he had made for Terraria 1.
Okay.
And that's
Interesting.
why, so stuff he wanted to do. And I have a feeling some of the stuff he wants to do in Terraria 2 will kind of be related to my game I want to talk about that I've been playing this week. But basically, like, some more complex, like, interactions between blocks and liquids and stuff.
hmm
Because right now there's some cool stuff in Terraria, like, your plants have to be partially submerged in water or lava sometimes for them to grow correctly. And, like, stuff like that. But, like, there's no real interactions. There's no chemistry. There's no, like, Breath of the Wild level chemistry sort of stuff doesn't really happen in Terraria.
Yeah.
And it's been shown that stuff's possible now. So I imagine they're going to want to do some cool stuff like that because it's the perfect game for it.
Nice. I just hope that Terraria 2 doesn't do the thing a lot of sequels do, which is take content out uh, of the original game and then maybe add it in later as an expansion.
I mean, I think I'm almost certain that it will not, Terraria 2 will not be as big as Terraria 1.4 on launch. I just can't imagine that. That would be insane.
Yeah.
But I think I think it'll be different enough that it won't matter. Like, I don't think it'll be an improvement on Terraria. I think it'll be its own game. Like Terraria has this whole side of it where you're like fighting the corruption kind of, and just changing the corruption to something else. Like they originally had a game called Terraria Otherworld that was coming out, and the big difference was instead of you preventing the spread of the corruption in Terraria Otherworld, the corruption had already won, and you were taking the world back. And that was like to me a significant enough change that like even if they had removed stuff, it was a totally different game at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited for it either way, and I'm super excited for 1.4 because Terraria is one of those games. I mean, it's my most played game on Steam, and
it's your number one game of the generation, right? I think we talked about that, right?
More than the generation, it's my number one
The
game
decade, yeah.
of the decade, and it's probably my number 2 game of all time.
Yeah.
Second only to Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
Oh, please be joking.
No, I think for games I've spent the most time with, games that are really like super nostalgic and my favorite games, I think it goes Sonic Adventure 2 Battle and then Terraria.
God.
And then probably like
I really
Minecraft
don't want
and
to
then
take your
Rocket
opinion
League.
seriously. Okay.
I know. Okay,
I know.
so
I
take
know.
a
There's
step back.
I know. There's a lot of you out there.
Objectively, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is not a good game, and I know that. Okay.
Yeah, I get that feeling. You know, you love trash, even though it's trash.
Terraria, however, earned its place.
Yeah.
Nostalgia free. If I played it for the first time tomorrow, I'm confident that it would be in the same spot in Pantheon.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing game, and it's so big, and there's so much to it. It has its flaws. It's a little grindy, but it's just, ugh. I can't wait to jump back in.
Do you want to seg into what you've been playing? Because you said it was related to Terraria.
Yeah, sure. So, it's only sort of tangentially related to Terraria, but and you guys may have heard of this game. It's in early access. It's called Noita.
Actually, I have not.
I have heard of it, yeah.
So, the best way I can pitch this game is imagine, like, do you know the old, like, not JavaScript, the old Flash games, like Falling Sand?
I'm familiar with old Flash games.
Okay, so
what they're like.
Falling Sand in particular was a game where like you could just dump like a ton of tiny particles basically, and they all had collisions essentially, and it was like making sand art.
Yeah.
And Noida answers the question, what if that was a roguelike? You play as the Noita, which is Finnish for witch, and you essentially go through this world, and their tagline is every pixel is simulated. So it's a 2D game, and like you play as a witch, and you find these wands, and these wands have spells on them, and these spells are things like bombs or fireballs or something, and they all affect the world like in serious ways. Like a bomb is going to blow dirt away and cause shrapnel a little bit. A fire is going to burn wood. There's oil in the world that can catch fire, and then you've got a fire that's going to be there for a while. There's whiskey. Whiskey will burn quick and hot and damage enemies around you. And it's just this super deep game with just a super like Breath of the Wild level interaction systems going on. Like fire burns and creates smoke. Smoke can choke you. Water going into fire can put out the fire, but it also creates steam. And if enough steam pools somewhere, then it'll start raining there. Like, and you can drown in steam.
Physics engine sounds crazy, but like, what is it though? Like, so far it just sounds like a simulation.
Well, you play as the witch, the Noida, and you gather these wands that have spells, and they're enemies. Like you're going into this mountain, and you're trying to fight your way down to the bottom of this mountain, and it's a roguelike. So, you start off with only 100 health and pretty crappy wands, and you're trying to find new wands and work, better wands, and shoot your way through this mountain with enemies that have like shotguns and rocket launchers, and they're like giant bugs and stuff, and there's a boss at the end that I've never gotten to. and it's kind of hard to explain. The combat. The reason I say it's like Terraria is because the combat is almost exactly like Terraria. You're flying around in 2D and shooting basically the whole game. But every run is so completely different because you don't just find wands. There's a system with these spells, and they like you probably played like Binding of Isaac or something, and you know how things have synergy.
Mm-hmm.
Things in Noita do not have hard-coded symmetry. So it's like there's a set of rules for every spell. And like some spells, when they collide with something, they trigger the next spell in the list. So you could like do a ricochet almost, or like there's an explosion spell that if you use it on your wand, it'll just explode you and kill you. But if you attach it to a projectile that triggers another spell, then suddenly you can cast this really weak projectile, but when it hits, it's going to cause an explosion. And like, there are things that allow you to cast multiple spells at once. Wands have a ton of stats like cast time, recharge time, max mana, mana charge rate. Like, there's so many numbers to keep up with. And you only really can heal between floors. There are a couple of exceptions to that, but for the most part, there's a finite number of times you can heal yourself in this game. Like, health is incredibly scarce.
Mm-hmm.
And 100 health is not very much. Like, one shotgun blast can do as much as 14 damage to you, if not more. And a fire can kill you almost instantly. I almost always keep my clothes wet in the game because that repels fire. But it's a weird game because the flow is just so weird. Because like 1 minute you're this, you're like jumping out of cover and lobbing a couple of bolts or something, but then you can find a wand. And like the community, I think, calls them god wands because sometimes the synergies are just so good that suddenly they're running from you. You're just an absolute monster tearing through this. But you never really, or at least I've never been able to get enough health that every move counts the entire time I'm playing. Like, because there are a couple of things that can just almost instantly kill you at any point. Like if you get frozen and then get meleeed, that's an instant death. Doesn't matter how much health you have. There's something called polymorph, which turns you into another creature, and you have that creature's HP and weaknesses. So like if you get polymorphed into a fire monster and then get hit by water, you're dead. Like, it's just, you have to be super careful. The whole game is super tense. And like you're thinking about all these different systems the whole time you play it. And it's a big game. There's like, I think 7 or 8 core areas that you have to fight through to get to the boss. But then that's like the middle third of the world in the game. But the whole world is full of stuff and secrets. And, to beat the game, to roll the credits, you only have to fight your way down this like very structured roguelike section, which is like super linear. And like there's this stuff called brickwork that you can't really break. But eventually you find spells and realize you can break brickwork. And when you do that, like the gods get mad at you, which is sort of like in Spelunky when you anger the shopkeeper. And there's an enemy waiting for you at the bottom of every floor. But now you suddenly have the ability to move back to previous areas. And you can even go back up to the surface and find out that there's stuff to do on the surface now that you're more powerful.
So this bit almost sounds Metroidvania-ish.
Kinda, except you don't keep anything. Like when you die, it's all gone.
Yeah.
But it's weird. It's a weird roguelike because a run that actually gets to see most of this stuff is probably going to be like 6 hours long. Like, to actually get a god wand, to actually like get to the bottom and get all the powerful stuff and then work your way back up and get to experience the world on the surface and all. You're going to be playing forever. And most of my runs are only like 40 minutes long. Because I get creamed.
Yeah.
I've made it almost to the end of the like core floors, but it's super fun, and I'm not doing it justice because it's really hard to explain what's fun about it. But
yeah, the level of like systems interaction has definitely got me peaked, I think, because like, have you ever played like Magica?
I have not.
So what you were describing kind of sounds like that. Like, 'cause in Magica, you have like all these different elements and like spells, and you can combine them, and like and they have like all sorts of effects, and like some of them are logical. Like if you combine like water and fire, you have a steam spell, but like some of them are crazy and like
See, that's the thing about Noita is that if you understand the rules, it's all totally logical. You never make a spell that does something you wouldn't expect unless you misunderstood the rules at some point. Like even if you're looking at spells you've never seen before, if you understand the fundamental rules, you should know what's going to happen. And that's important because if that wasn't true, then it would feel really unfair when you pick up the explosion wand and it just explodes and instantly kills you. Like, which has happened to me. But I know that it was my fault because I didn't check what spells were on the wand before I used it. It's super cool. I would suggest you guys check it out. It's indie. It's made by the same developers as Moonbase Alpha, I think it's called. Baba Is You.
Oh, okay.
Crayon Physics Deluxe.
Baba Is You is excellent.
Yeah, it is. And Noita is way better.
Wow. That's
Noita is phenomenal. Like I mean I bought it like Thursday or Friday or something, and I've put let me heart the kimono a little bit here and just check my numbers. It was over 30 hours on Monday.
Dang.
31 hours, yes. I haven't gotten to play a ton since I started working this week, but yeah. 31 hours of Noita.
In one weekend. That's rare for a game to do.
Yeah,
like,
this is
it's
like
rare
the
when
first...
that happens, but it's great when it happens.
This is the first game. Doom Eternal did it a tiny bit, but other than that, this is the first game I've played in years that I've like totally lost track of time. Like I would sit down and play it, and suddenly it's like 3 a.m, and I don't even realize like, that it's nighttime. Like.
All right, so let me go into what I've been playing. But before I want to do that, I want to give a shout out to something that's kind of been ongoing. So I mentioned that Minecraft server we made, like the quarantine server. And an interesting development happened on that server that I don't think I've shared with you guys yet. So, okay, so this is a bit of a story. So I was basically like, there's a bunch of us on that server, right? So I'm basically living with my friend in like in a dirt hovel in Squalor. That's just kind of our thing. But and we have like a chest full of like treasures and stuff, but we still like live in the dirt hut.
A real Danny DeVito.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. If you picture Charlie and Frank from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and that's exactly what this is. But one of our other friends, Alex, he joins the server, right? And then he just like loots us both and runs away. So we're like, okay, this isn't gonna fly because like even though we live in Squalor, we have like very powerful items like full diamond and like locator maps and such. So we start hunting him down, and it was an epic chase that involved the crossing of many seas and traversing through many continents. We had several. I don't know if you guys know how maps in Minecraft work, but like. Once we filled out a map, we'd just make a new one and then continue the hunt because, like, we'd know the general direction he was in. We just kept filling out maps until we reached him. And then we finally cornered him. He was on a beach. He wasn't really expecting anything. He was just, like, making some armor, I believe. And then the three of us just, like, lunge out of a jungle and chase him into the ocean. And he starts swimming away. Actually, this is kind of crazy. So, like, when he's swimming away, right, we're on boats. So we, like, gain on him pretty quick. But then he just dives underwater to avoid us. And obviously he has to surface for air. So during those periods where he surfaced for air, we try and kill him. But, like, something crazy that happened. So he surfaces. And then, like, I'm coming at him hard. And I'm about to take a swing at him with my sword. And then, like, one of my friends who's also chasing him, he, like, swings at him, misses, and it hits me, and it crashes my game. So in the midst of that confusion, he somehow gets away.
How did it crash your game?
I have no idea, but like, long story short, we finally corner him, and then we mercilessly kill him. And we decided that was so fun, we formalized hunts on the server.
Oh my god.
So now we've formalized the process where one of us starts out with nothing but I think an axe, I believe, and a pickaxe, like a wooden axe and a pickaxe. They start out with nothing else but those. They have 30 minutes to do whatever they need to. They can like go into the mines and mine for materials. They can just straight up run as far as they can in any direction, any permutation of that. But they start out with an axe and a pickaxe. They have 30 minutes to do whatever, and then the hunting party comes after them. And this entire process has turned into such like a fun game mode that we regularly do now. We go on hunts all the time. I've been hunted several times, and it's just
Oh
a
my God.
blast.
That's so funny.
And I think it's funny that like it's both funny that like him stealing from us led to this discovery, and it's also great that like we just like invented this awesome kind of mode in Minecraft, and it's just a testament to Minecraft that it's versatile enough for like things like that to be discovered.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys. Like the hunts on our server are legendary things that need to be spread. But anyways, so the actual game I've been playing, besides Minecraft, is One Piece Pirate Warriors 4.
Really?
So the Pirate Warriors game. So actually, first of all, do you guys know what a Warriors game is?
Yeah, like
So,
a Hyrule Warriors type thing.
Yeah,
Dragon Warrior.
Dynasty Warriors.
Dynasty
yes.
Warriors, sorry.
Yeah. So these kind of games all have like a certain flavor about them, in which that the gameplay is all basically just a power fantasy. It's just you versus hordes and hordes of enemies, and you just mow them all down and perform special attacks and take them out. Like it's not very deep gameplay wise, but it's very satisfying. And when you couple that with like an IP or a series or something that you're really into, it can be a really fun sort of like it's not like it's not like a meaningful game by any stretch of the imagination, but it's like a really fun distraction, right? So like obviously this is a One Piece Warriors game, so there's like 30, 40 plus characters. There's a lot of One Piece characters you can play as, and there are, dozens and dozens of levels taken straight from the story of One Piece, and you just play as One Piece characters and mow down enemies, and it's a lot of fun. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I don't know if anyone here has watched One Piece or heard of One Piece, but One Piece is a series where there's tons of different powers and like a huge variety of fighting styles. So that really kind of lends itself well to this kind of game, because like no two characters feel the same at all. And everyone has a really distinct flavor. And I will say the creators of this game really sort of nailed the feel of each character, especially Luffy, whose powers feel just right, I think. So I think if you're a fan of One Piece, definitely pick up this game. And I hear from Warriors game enthusiasts that the Pirate Warriors One Piece games does the Warriors genre better than almost everyone else. So take that for what you will. If you're
Are they not all
Warriors
made by the same people?
No, I don't think so. Well, actually, maybe. I don't know.
I thought
That's a
it
good
was like
question.
Dynasty Warriors just took on other IPs sometimes, and
That might be true. Yeah, I'm not too sure. But anyways, yep, that's what I've got this week. How about you, Mike?
So I'm expanding on what I was talking about last week with Valorant. I put several 13, 14-hour streams into the game, and oh man,
Oh wow,
it's gotten deeper as the more I play it. Like the abilities are actually clicking for me. But
several 13, 14-hour streams. That's huge.
you gotta work the grind now. That's what I've been doing.
So Valorant's still like in its beta, right? When does the beta
Yeah.
end? Or does
Beta
it?
ends probably in the summer, sometime in the summer, and then it'll go to the full release.
Okay. So it's going right into full release. It's not taking
I
some
think
time off.
it's Riot Games. It'll release in air quotes, and then it'll still be in beta.
Yeah.
That's what normal free-to-play games do.
So any kind of like new insights from your additional time to it? Like
It's hard.
Who's your favorite I guess character or class or whatever?
Honestly, I've been gravitating more towards like the more aggressive playstyle characters.
Mm-hmm.
especially one who has a grenade and or a rocket launcher.
Yeah.
You never expect that to work well, but it works.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of gameplay, like, and I mean, I watched a couple streamers, and the streamer I watched almost always uses that character with like the ability to. They have like a bow and arrow, and they attach like
Sova.
radar to the arrow, right? So when you shoot it, like it pings all the enemies around. Yeah.
Yeah, I've also been playing a character whose entire shtick is walls of toxin, which would make sense that they'd be like moderately lethal. None of it's lethal.
None of it's lethal.
It does like decay damage down to like 1 health, but when you leave it, all that damage goes away.
Oh, really?
So it's more of a don't step in here because I might be in here camping because I'm immune to that venom. Less I'm going to discourage you from walking to this area because you're just going to walk right through it. It's more for vision control than for deterrence.
That's kind of how it was in Apex Legends too. There was a similar character.
So how many characters are there in the beta? I'm just curious.
8 or 9. 8 or 9. I'd have to look.
And there's teams of like 4 on each team?
5. It's 5v5.
Okay. So there's like some overlap there.
Yeah, and there's some agents that are way better than others. Like Sova's top tier because of his info. Because it's an information game.
Yeah.
Communication is super important, and so is, knowing where everyone is at all times. So characters that have cameras or have a reliable way of giving you information of what's on the other side of that wall before you walk in are super valuable.
But you opt for the rocket launchers and grenades.
Yeah, because I'd like killing. I want to go in there and not think about, oh man, I got to throw a recon dart in there. I want to think about, okay, I'm going to throw the grenade in this corner, throw my Roomba at this corner, and then start shooting.
Your Roomba?
Yeah, it's an explosive Roomba.
Okay.
It also spots people. It's really valuable because I'll bounce it off a corner, and if someone's in that corner, it'll like make a noise and start going a little faster at them, and I know they're there even if they destroy it. So even though it doesn't kill them, I know they're there. So I can instantly check that corner.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sensing I don't know, like there's definitely the reliance on information and awareness is one of the things that's carried over from League of Legends, I think.
Yeah.
So, I think Riot might just be really good at structuring a game around those concepts.
It's also gotten all the toxicity from every shooter community in the world.
Yeah, I kind of heard about that.
One game.
And I kind of heard about the fact that like the trademark Riot Games League toxicity made its way over.
Oh no, this is worse.
Yeah.
It's only in ranked though. Like in unrated, I'll just have a chill conversation with people and we'll just be like, that's stupid, but that's hilarious. Like there was a whole battle where 2 people were emptying like magazines worth of ammunition at each other and just couldn't hit each other. We weren't yelling at it, we were laughing at it.
Yeah, but like I think the expectation is that unranked is like where the goofing off happens.
Yeah.
But like that's not to say that like there's no excuse for toxicity, but like I'm just saying like that's to be expected more in unranked. That the fact that there's no toxicity.
I hopped into a couple ranked games and there was zero communication. I'd say something and I'd get no reply. It was not a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just been playing unranked until ranked fixes itself because it also is not placing people where they should be placed.
Yeah.
So you'll get like a pro player at the bottom of the rankings.
Yeah. Last episode we talked about Valorant quite a bit, and I mentioned I hadn't seen it yet, but obviously since then I've watched some streams of it and like looked at the gameplay, and I think I can firmly say that this game isn't for me, but I respect it for what it is. But I just don't think like the, I guess CS:GO style like hyper competitive style shooter is my kind of thing.
I'm still interested in checking it out, but I don't watch Twitch enough to ever get an invitation or whatever.
2 hours to get the drop ish.
Yeah, I don't watch. I'm never gonna watch 2 hours of Twitch.
I just left a stream running while I was streaming League, I think.
Like
I just had it on my second monitor, just existing.
Yeah. So what's this? I don't know if we want to get into this, but what's this about the games crashing due to the anti-cheat?
It wasn't the game crashing. It's the anti-cheat in Valorant or Valorant or however it's pronounced.
Right, Vanguard.
It's like kernel level, and
It's crashing your computer.
Yeah, it's when
not
people
crashing.
When people were starting up their PC, it was disconnecting or disabling all of their peripherals, including keyboard and mouse. So like it was soft wrecking their PC.
And it was only certain peripherals too. I think it has something to do with the anti-cheat being a little aggressive with certain softwares and drivers.
Yeah, I'm just a little frustrated that they didn't just go with someone else's anti-cheat, because from what I've heard, nobody really trusts Riot to make a functional client, much less a kernel level anti-cheat.
I mean, the anti-cheat, it does its job.
Yeah.
Somewhat. Not in ranked. I don't think they put band waves out through yet. It would be kind of.
I just don't think it's working. Yet. And I don't know if it's worth it unless it literally worked 100%. I don't know if it's really worth it to trust them with that much.
The thing is, a lot of anti-cheats for shooters are kernel level access, so people making a big
kernel
deal
levels, kernel level's not my issue. My issue is Riot's competence. It's one thing, these people that have been most people don't write their own anti-cheat. They license it from someone else.
Yeah.
And so most people are using like easy anti-cheat or something like that, and like that tracks. Those people have a ton of experience. Riot doesn't, and they don't have a great track record with functionality and stuff from what I've read. So
I mean, I haven't had any trouble with Vanguard, and that's my personal experience. But I have heard reports of it messing with like MSI Afterburner, which is kind of an aggressive stance, but I have saw reports that Afterburner does have some vulnerabilities that cheat makers have used to hook cheats into games. So it kind of makes sense to block that. And you can turn back on Afterburner by just flipping something in their settings in Afterburner to disable low-level system access, and you'll be set. Like, it's just, you got to be proactive with cheating, and especially in shooters, because cheating just ruins the game for people.
Right, yeah, that's the whole point of the game.
So I'd rather have a super aggressive anti-cheat than an anti-cheat that doesn't do its job, like, Valve's anti-cheat.
Yeah, that's a fair argument.
Yeah, I mean, cheaters are pretty much why I don't play competitive shooters anymore.
I mean, why I don't play competitive shooters anymore is that I'm just no good at them, to be honest.
I started to get good enough at CSGO that I started running into cheaters, and I immediately lost interest.
Mm-hmm. Valve anti-cheat. Yeah. It's not exactly up to par, and I don't think they've done anything with. Oh, actually, they're trying to fix it. But in my 70, 80 hours of Valorant, I have seen maybe one cheater potentially. It's hard to tell because there's no like kill cam or spectate.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. I sounds pretty good to me. Like, that sounds pretty effective.
It's
the anti-cheat.
Yeah. I think the way the client works, it also loads agents only when you can see them. So seeing through walls is something that's really hard to program in, since you can't see them until they are loaded into the game for you. Like, I think all their positions are kept track of server side and not client side, which makes sense. Selective calling is really nice.
Yeah, that's all interesting. That'd be a difficult thing to implement, but I guess not impossible.
Well, anyway. Riot certainly has the resources to do it. Whether they have the skill, that's another question, I guess. But
also, Valorant gun skins are really expensive. That didn't stop me, though.
Oh, yeah, I could definitely see it turning into another CSGO kind of like, there's an entire marketplace for skins and whatnot,
I mean, I lose all the skins that I bought as soon as the beta launches, but I get like 20% extra currency. So anything I buy will be refunded plus 20%.
That's pretty cool.
Which kind of sucks, but you know what? I don't mind. They got to reset something when the beta launches, and I think all these
Yeah, I mean, my expectation would
skins
be that you just don't get anything when the game launches, right? It's cool that they're actually doing something.
No, I get to keep everything that I've unlocked actively, but anything I've bought, no.
Okay, that's cool.
Like, I'll get to keep my closed beta rewards since I've unlocked all of those.
Nice.
But I think any of the skins I've bought, which some skins are like $17 for a single skin, I will lose.
Yeah, I mean, like I've heard some insane prices for skins, like in games like CS:GO, so I wonder if eventually Valorant's gonna reach that kind of status.
I mean, I could buy $17 worth of Valorant points to pay for one weapon skin. But I think they're going to reduce the prices on these because these are all placeholder skins.
Okay.
And there's not a lot of them.
So they're placeholders, but they're still selling for like $17.
Yeah, they're selling them, but it's also on the expectation that you'll get more money back for buying it in the beta.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to make $20, or like not $20, like $5 extra in credits after the beta ends since I spent $50 on it.
Yeah. All right, I think that's going to do it for us, guys. Please follow us at @Podcast Game Talk on Twitter. Please click the link in the description of this podcast to join our Discord. Please like, rate, and review us on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and any podcast service you may use. Thank you for listening, guys, and we will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.